I'm going to ask you a question, and it doesn't count if you look it up on Wikipedia. Can you tell me, what is the currency of El Salvador? Well, the official currency of El Salvador is the United States dollar. That's right, since 2001, the US dollar has been the legal tender in El Salvador. However, starting in September 2021, El Salvador will officially have two currencies, the US dollar and, wait for it, Bitcoin. That's because El Salvador has just approved Bitcoin as legal tender. And what does this mean exactly? Well, you can pay taxes in Bitcoin, and all businesses are obliged to accept it as a payment method. And I know what many of you are thinking, particularly those of you who are fans of cryptocurrencies. Viva el presidente del Salvador, Nayib Bukele! Let's pack our bags and go and live in this country. What's more, if you're actually watching this video from Venezuela or Argentina, it probably sounds divine, because if there's one problem common to many Latin American countries, it is the currency. However, El Salvador is oblivious to these problems. Why? Well, precisely because they use the dollar. So the burning question is, what has moved Bukele to declare Bitcoin as legal tender? Is El Salvador really going to become the paradise of cryptocurrencies? Or is there some kind of Trojan horse lurking in the law with which this decision will be implemented? Today on VisualPolitik, we are going to answer these questions. But first, let's take a look at a bit of history.
Insert Bitcoin.
What is the main difference between a cryptocurrency and regular money? Normal money, also called fiat money, is created by central banks. For example, the US Federal Reserve or the European Central Bank control the money supply of dollars and euros respectively. Bitcoin and most cryptocurrencies are a totally different story. Bitcoin was created in 2009 by Satoshi Nakamoto, a pseudonym that hides the real identity of its creator. We do not even know who he is. Bitcoin is based on blockchain technology. So, how does this technology work? Well, that's a topic for another video. The important point is that Bitcoin is a currency where there is no need for commercial banks or states to regulate it. And it's precisely this aspect that is one of the most important things about Bitcoin. It is not under any supervision of any state or government. That is, there is no one controlling the supply of Bitcoins. Theoretically, there will also be a limited number of Bitcoins in the world economy, 21 million Bitcoins. When that number is reached, no more Bitcoins will be created. And what is the advantage of this? Well, it prevents the ruler of the day from manipulating the money supply. So this is supposed to give stability to its value as a currency. Of course, this is the theory, because the reality is this.
19th of May 2021. Bitcoin whipsaws investors with same-day plunge. Rally of 30%. Bloomberg.
The reality is that Bitcoin fluctuates more than Russell Crowe's scales. So what does this mean? Well, almost nobody uses it as a payment method. But hold on a minute, because it's not just that its value is unusually unstable. Something that is often not mentioned is that Bitcoin is also remarkably slow. Take a look at these comparisons between the transaction processing capacity offered by Visa, the credit card company, and Bitcoin. This means that in 3 hours, Visa has the capability to process the same transactions as Bitcoin does in a year. Bitcoin can certainly improve, but the reality is this. So if you live in the United States or the European Union, it seems better to keep running on dollars or euros. And I know what you'll be thinking. Seems like those guys on VisualPolitik are totally against cryptocurrencies, right? Well, not exactly. In fact, there is one place in the world where cryptocurrencies may be of some interest, and we're talking about Latin America. To talk about hyperinflation is to talk about Latin America. Venezuela has reached inflation rates of more than 100,000%, but it is not the only country that has suffered hyperinflation. Brazil and Nicaragua had cases of hyperinflation a few decades ago. And let's not forget about Argentina. Check it out.
19th of May 2021. Inflation near 50% puts Argentina on path that failed before. Bloomberg.
So why does Latin America have so much hyperinflation? The main reason is that central banks manipulate the currency at will. To put it another way, they hit the money printing machine as if there were no tomorrow. This causes their currencies to be worth less than monopoly bills. So the idea of using a currency that is not controlled by any government or central bank sounds like music to the ears. Listen up.
22nd of June 2021. As Venezuela's economy regresses, crypto fills the gaps. Reuters.
As you can imagine, it is logical that in Venezuela, they would use anything before the bolivar. And the question is, why would they want to use Bitcoin in El Salvador? After all, in this country, they use the dollar as their official currency. In other words, they don't have huge hyperinflation problems. So, why have they decided to gamble so much on Bitcoin? Well, we're going to have a look at that right now.
Bukele's big idea.
El Salvador has a millennial president. Nayib Bukele is the new rockstar of Latin American politics, although many think he's an aspiring tyrant. We talked about that in more depth in another video that I'll link for you down in the description. But the truth is, in Bukele's political plans, he didn't say anything about Bitcoin. Then suddenly, in a conference about Bitcoin held in Miami, this video of President Bukele was broadcast.
I will send to Congress a bill that will make Bitcoin a legal tender in El Salvador. In the short term, this will generate jobs and help provide financial inclusion to thousands outside the formal economy.
Of course, after that, there was no more talk of anything else in El Salvador. Everything was up in the air, because the only official announcement was that video in English that had been broadcast in Miami. Nobody explained anything in El Salvador. And just 3 days later, the government presented the Bitcoin law, which was approved in a matter of hours by the parliament. And we're talking about a law that has 16 articles. A VisualPolitik script takes up to 4 times longer to write. These 16 articles do not go into much detail, but there are some interesting things. For example, it will be possible to pay taxes with Bitcoin. And no, Salvadorans will not be pioneers in this, because for months, the Swiss canton of Zug has been accepting the payment of taxes with Bitcoin and Ether. Even so, it is still striking. But if there is only one truly controversial point in the Bitcoin law, it's Article 7. Take a look.
Every economic agent shall accept Bitcoin as a form of payment when so offered by whoever acquires a goods or service. Article 7 of the Bitcoin Act of 2021.
According to this article, it seems clear that Salvadorans will be forced to accept Bitcoin whether they want to or not. And at first, this seemed to be confirmed by President Bukele himself.
If there is a lady who sells fruit in the market, she is obliged to receive payment in Bitcoin. Nayib Bukele.
The problem comes when, once the Bitcoin law is approved, you only start explaining yourself 2 weeks later. Do you remember the Marx Brothers and the contract scene, the party of the first part? Well, Bukele has made a great tribute to them.
Sí, parecería que todos están obligados a aceptar el Bitcoin como forma de pago y por lo tanto recibir el Bitcoin. Pero no es así. Los agentes económicos, es decir, los comercios, están obligados a aceptar Bitcoin, pero no a recibirlo.
Article 8 is also interesting. It says that you'll be able to operate in Bitcoin with private wallets, but that the state will provide alternatives that allow transactions in Bitcoin. So, what does this mean? Well, basically, that Bukele has created a government wallet to operate with Bitcoins. It will be called the Chivo. And this is already starting to clang a little, because one of the premises of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin is that it is decentralized, something beyond the reach of governments. Not to mention another issue that does not inspire much confidence. If there is one thing that led Bukele to sweep the elections, it is that he presented himself to the people as a champion of transparency and the fight against corruption, a champion who would allow them to forget the scandals of the FMLN governments. However, everything about the Chivo wallet is too reminiscent of the bad practices of the past.
30th of June 2021. Bukele imitates FMLN and awards Bitcoin projects directly. elsalvador.com.
Directly, that is to say, without public tender, bidding, or anything else. Bukele has awarded the development of the Chivo wallet to a US company called Strike. But hold on a minute, because the Bitcoin law still hides some catches. After what we're about to see, it will be time for Bitcoin fans to answer the big question, which is whether you would really go to El Salvador and be able to live your daily life using your favorite cryptocurrency. So, keep watching.
The fine print of the Bitcoin law.
Do you know what El Salvador's main source of income is? Remittances. A quarter of Salvadorans, some 2 million people, live abroad, most of them in the United States. All these Salvadorans send money back to their families. So how much money are we talking about exactly? Well, no less than almost $6 billion every year, a figure equivalent to 20% of El Salvador's GDP. The country earns the same income through this channel as it does through exports. Salvadorans who have emigrated using money orders to send these amounts to their families. We're talking about companies like Western Union and MoneyGram, among others. Of course, these companies do not provide this service for free and charge commissions. The point, according to President Bukele, is that Salvadoran citizens will benefit if they use Bitcoin instead of dollars to make remittances, because it will be cheaper. So what's the problem? Basically, that the data keeps on saying the opposite. Interestingly, El Salvador has one of the lowest commissions for remittances in the world. To give you an idea, the average in Latin America is 5.6%. In El Salvador, it is 2.85%. Keep this number in mind, 2.85%. And how much does it cost to change dollars to Bitcoin? Well, the company that has the most Bitcoin ATMs in the country is called Athena. This company charges a commission of 5%. And you may be wondering, so why is there so much interest in Bitcoin? Well, here comes a possible explanation. The government of El Salvador has no control over remittances. It neither knows how many arrive, nor can it tax them. But then, what if the remittances arrived in Bitcoin? Imagine sending Bitcoins to someone in El Salvador who has a Chivo wallet. That wallet belongs to the government. In other words, the government could place whatever commission it wants to. But I know what you're thinking. What if they use a wallet other than the government wallet? And this is where the fine print of the law comes in, and things are not so clear.
21st of June 2021, El Salvador. Funds to change Bitcoin to dollar would be insufficient. economista.net.
Let's go back to the Bitcoin law. Its Article 14 says that the state will guarantee the automatic and instantaneous convertibility of Bitcoin to dollars as long as you use its wallet. That is, the Chivo wallet. But wait a minute, because there's more. Here comes Article 9 of the law. And what does that article say? It talks about limitations to automatic conversion alternatives. In other words, that the government can prohibit the use of any wallet other than the government wallet. It is true, these limitations are yet to be fixed in a regulation. And why would they want to limit the wallets that are used? Well, the government has created a fund of $150 million to generate the conversion of Bitcoin to dollars. The problem is, what would happen if everyone rushed to convert Bitcoin to dollars? What would happen if this fund ran out? Well, the truth is that nobody knows, and Bukele seems busy with other things.
10th of June 2021, Nayib Bukele, president of El Salvador, gets laser eyes on Twitter to support Bitcoin. Geraldo USA.
Bukele has increased public spending without raising taxes. The country needs dollars to pay off its debt. These dollars could come from remittances while its citizens receive Bitcoins. The choice for Salvadorans is not easy either. In short, if you do not use the government wallet, you will cop the risk of having Bitcoins because you already know their volatility. So from the outset, you have a very strong incentive to use the government wallet. And of course, if you do not use this wallet, the Chivo, then you'll have to pay attention to the regulations that set the wallet limitations. Because once the trust dollars are all gone, there could be a corralito situation in which the exchange to dollars is limited. In other words, the only thing you would have left would be Bitcoins, with which you will be able to operate in El Salvador, but which will not be very useful outside the country. Besides, remember that Bukele has another urgent problem to solve.
10th of March 2021, El Salvador's debt could reach 100% of its GDP, according to the ICEFI, Swiss Info.
The country's debt is already more than 90% of GDP. In other words, why wouldn't they just set a tax to take advantage of remittances? Not to mention that if Salvadorans pay taxes with Bitcoins, the dollar trust will be converted into Bitcoins. All of a sudden, the Salvadoran state will be in possession of a lot of Bitcoins. With all that this implies, Bukele's decision could become a windfall if Bitcoin is revalued. But the opposite could also happen, and the government could be ruined if Bitcoin sinks. In that case, the big question is how El Salvador will then manage to deal with its foreign debt. I'm afraid that we will probably end up talking about that topic in just a few coming months. But for now, the question is over to you. Do you think that Bukele's decision is a good one, or is it too risky? Would you like your country to convert Bitcoin into legal tender as well? You can leave me your answers down in the comments. In the meantime, don't forget that we release new videos every week, so subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our updates. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. All the best, see you soon.